welcome to the stream, internet friends. Hi, how are you all doing? I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are. Yes, I came in with a startling entry again because I literally don't know how else to start the stream. I've got two options, either to come in straight away with the hello or to try and make a point of doing the like softly, I'm about to appear on screen, nobody panic, whatever thing. And, you know, I don't know which to go with. So here I am. Hi. Hope it was good to, I don't know what I was trying to say there. Good to see you all. Hello. Sorry I scared you. So, your immediate thought, I imagine, looking at me, is what the devil is that stripy blue thing behind Joseph there? And what that is my duvet, because I have suspended it from the shelf, not for aesthetic purposes. Aesthetically, it doesn't do anything. I don't think it looks very pretty. I'd rather it weren't there, but it dampens the echo. It catches the sound. I've also strategically scattered pillows throughout this room outside of shot, and I'm a lot happier with the echo. So we won't normally have this. This is just for when we're doing recording sessions. Stringing up a duvet behind me, make the sound quality all nice and crisp and clear and non-echoey, which will be wonderful to have, I hope. So, we'll see what happens. So we're going to go straight over to the combat section, where we were on the taunts, the combat taunts that we wrote in the last few sessions. So we're going to pick up exactly where we left off with those. In fact, the last thing we recorded last time was this line about for trolls going. No, we had that one already. So we had the bigger they are, the harder they fall, but also the harder they hit. Watch out, which is for giants. So that's what we're where we're picking up from. So yeah, we're going to carry on from there. So the next line is for Reeklings, about this yippee thing. So I'm gonna, now this time I have managed to get Cubase working. So I had some problems last time in that there's absolutely nothing wrong with Audacity, and it's what I encourage you guys to use, those of you who are setting out to make your follower mods, following the tutorial series, because Audacity is fine. The difference is Audacity and Cubase have slightly different compression algorithms. There's nothing necessarily wrong with either, but they're different. So the lines that I recorded last time with Audacity, I compressed with Audacity, and they sounded noticeably different when I loaded them up in game. The volumes were all wrong, and it just didn't sound right. That was also exacerbated by the echo we had going in the room, which, while not actually noticeable in game, was messing with the normalization volume. Because it's hard to explain, but because you had that little bit of extra sound on top from the echo, then when it was normalizing everything to be the same volume, the actual bit that was me speaking ended up being a bit quieter than all the rest of the lines, because that echo sort of filled up the last bit of the volume. I don't know whether that makes any sense at all. But yeah, point is, you're fine to use Audacity or to use Cubase, but you must not switch from one audio software to a different audio software mid-mod, because if you do that, then you're going to get inconsistent sound, which is exactly what I discovered from last time. So I had to do a lot of editing on the lines we recorded last time to make them consistent. I fixed them now, but we're going to be recording in Cubase moving on forward, because that's what I always did. Cubase is spelled C-U-B-A-S-E. It is paid for software, which is why I recommend using Audacity, because Audacity is free. Cubase I got for free as part of the bundle with my microphone, but I believe it's quite expensive to buy an individual license. I'm not quite sure of the price to just get it outright. If it comes bundled with your microphone, I would use it instead of Audacity, because it's a more powerful tool. And I do actually prefer its compression algorithm. It makes a slightly nicer sound. Hard to describe exactly how. It's got a faster attack and release than Audacity has, which will mean nothing to some of you, might mean something to some of you, but it results in you having a little bit more control over the sound. And then there's a bunch of other tools and things Cubase can do as well that Audacity can't quite do as well. So this is my preferred software to use. It just has issues with the audio card, with the sound card, and sharing the sound card with other applications. It can just freak out sometimes for no reason, which is what happened last time when we weren't getting any stream audio when I was using Cubase, or we weren't getting any Cubase audio when I was using the stream thing. But I fiddled with the settings, sorted that out, we're good to go. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling about sound, which most of you probably don't care about. Let's record this line. As ever, modding workshop, please do, if you've got any questions at any point about modding, about Lucien, about what I'm doing, about if you want opinions on what you're doing, anything like that, feel free to drop them at me in the chat, and I will do my absolute best to answer them for you, because that's what we're here for, really. That's what the modding workshop's all about. But in the meantime, I'm just going to crack on recording all this stuff. Hey, Watching Hat. Hey, Charmed Barian. Hey, bye men. I have no idea about that one. I guess you'd have to edit, because vampire form naturally antagonizes NPCs who aren't immune to it. And I'm not quite sure how the game handles that. I've never really worked with vampirism in the game, so I can't really advise. But that sounds like something that Google may have answers for. Yeah, 99 USD sounds more or less what I was expecting for it, which is quite expensive. I wouldn't recommend spending $99 on sound software unless you were 100% committed to making a mod that was going to be large scale, that you expected to somehow turn a profit from. Because generally with modding, you'd never make that money back. It's only if you started to try and monetize it, for instance, in the various ways I've tried to do with my channel and the sort of multimedia platform we're trying to build up, kind of around Lucien and around the streams and around the YouTube channel and the books and all of that. But if you're just planning on making a small-scale follower mod, don't spend $99 on Cubase. Unless money's no issue for you. If you're already astronomically wealthy and you can just spend whatever you want, then go for it. But Audacity will do you absolutely fine. You don't need to spend $99 on audio software at this stage. Yeah, this is the Elements version that I'm using. You certainly shouldn't need anything more than that unless you're seriously into sound. Right, here we go. Actually, hang on. We're going to stop that for a sec, and I'm going to warm up, because that's very important. Now, you've probably heard me doing this before if you've tuned into these streams before. It's going to sound like Lucien having an absolute mental breakdown. You're just going to have to deal with that. Hello there, my name is Lucien Flavius. Hello, hello, hello. I say, goodness me, marvellous, wonderful, splendid. Hello there, hello. Oh, there once was a hero named Lucien Flavius, and I'm doing all this sort of vocal exercise here, speaking in the Lucien voice, to get my natural speaking voice, which sits normally in the back of my throat and is quite lower, and I'm doing this to attune my sort of brain and my muscles to get used to speaking in that Lucien register, which is higher and tenser and more situated in the front of my mouth rather than in the back of my throat. So by speaking in Lucien voice for a fair bit to start with, it makes it more natural and easier for me to sustain it while I'm recording. So I tried to go with a fair few of his sort of catchphrases to get me in the sort of right headspace for it, hence the marvellous, I say, goodness me, wonderful. Thank you so much for the bits, Vickle, you're a wonderful person. Splendid. Righto, here we go. That feels like I'm more or less warmed up. All right, you little... No, failed that. Let's try it again, try it again, try it again. Okay. All right, you little blue yippy thing. Can't you just settle down? You're really being terribly annoying. Quite happy with that. I think that sounded like it was all right to me. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear these takes be played back to you because of the way Cubase is always reluctant to share the sound card. So I can hear it through my headphones, but I'm afraid you can't hear it when I play it back. I do apologise for that. There's unfortunately nothing I can do about that. And yes, that was a messenger ping that I have just muted. Now I'm being very careful to bring these export margins in very tight to the sound because I took a breath right before I started speaking, which I shouldn't really have done. So if I play from there, you get a little at the start of the sound, which we don't want. So there is the latest we can possibly kick in just as the sound starts. But as I say, you won't be able to hear that when it's playing out. It won't play out the stream because it's just because Audacity won't share the sound card. Not Audacity, Cubase. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to play the whole line back one more time. Now, I wish you guys could hear this. In fact, I'm going to export it so I can play it to you. Because the quality of it is so much better than it used to be. Thank you so much for the follow, Human Hulk. Like the lack of echo is fantastic compared to how the lines used to be. I'm so happy with that. So I'm going to go Lucien 160, and we're going to go Taunts 1. And hope I haven't used that name before. Right, so then if we go to where I've just exported the sound, here we go. And if I play this back to you, you'll be able to hear this now on stream. All right, you little blue yippy thing. Can't you just settle down? You're really being terribly annoying. You see what I mean? Do you notice any echo in the quality of that? I mean, you couldn't notice it before, really. But the echo is gone. I assume you heard that, by the way, when I played back. I'm hoping it came out there. And I hope it wasn't a weird volume. But to me, because I'm not an audiophile myself, my ears aren't super sensitive to quality of sound or anything. But I always did notice that echo before, and it was something I wanted to sort out. And to me now, I can't notice anything wrong with that sound. That sounds perfect to me. Yeah, crisp is a good word for it. So to me, that sounds perfect. I'm sure to trained sound engineers, there'll still be things that they would tweak about the balance and all of that. But to me, that sounds that's 100% what I would want from a Lucien line. So I'm happy to go ahead and implement that. Whereas I wasn't happy before with the way it was sounding. So I'm really glad we've sorted that with the innovative duvet solution. Just going to pop that line over into there. And then we're going to go over into the creation kit, and we're going to get the name of the file. Open it up there. Rename it, so that then when we open it up again, we can now export the lip. Job done. I'm very glad to hear you all agree. Yes, it's particularly noticeable when he's yelling. Shout out from Yummy Millennium to Happy Joseph. Hey Novablade, I was here waiting but had something to do. Are you using new software? It's not new software, it's just different software. It's the software I always used to use for Lucien. I always do use. It's only last time we chose to record in Audacity because I couldn't get the software working on that day, and that was a mistake. Should have stuck and persevered to try and get Cubase going. So we're back to Cubase now, which has a much nicer compression algorithm. So there we go, that's that line done. Let's move on to another one. This one's for Bandits. I quite like this one. This was a suggestion. I can't remember who suggested it, I'm afraid. That's the way with many of these suggested lines. But I like this line. Where's the record button? There we go. Your parents must be so disappointed in you. I'm going to try it one more time. Your parents must be so disappointed in you. I think I like that take better. Yeah, I like that. We're going to go with that take. So yeah, Nix. So you say that. The reason the duvet works really well is I can hang it from the shelves behind me. I have no idea how I would possibly construct a wall of egg boxes behind me, and that would involve wasting a lot of eggs. So I think the muffle of the duvet, nice soft duvet that just hangs on the wall that I can take down and put up as I wish, is definitely a solution I'm happy with. Oh, that's great to hear, Ace! Really hope you enjoy it. Yeah, I also can't tape anything on these walls. Because this is a rented apartment. So I have to leave it exactly how I found it. And they've expressly told me not to stick anything on the walls. Now, now you say that, you may notice I have a Lucien poster on my right. I have blue tacked that to the wall, which was possibly a bad decision in hindsight, but we shan't find out whether it's left a mark or not until we take it down. I'm just hoping that it'll come off. I just really wanted my Lucien poster up in my room. Do I play football? No, I can't play football to save my life. I was the most terrible football player at school. So I don't know whether this comes across to any of you, right? I don't know how obvious this is, but I was not a cool kid at school. I am a geek. And football was not in my skill set. I mean, I could get it in a goal, just not necessarily the goal that you sort of would encourage me to get it into. Words is on chapter 6 and loving it so far. That's so nice of you to say, Words. Really glad you're enjoying it. Oh no, geeks are cool. Geeks are cool, it's true. It's true. And I'm very happy with myself and how I am now, and I consider myself cool as far as I'm concerned. But in terms of that high school, teenage kind of perception of what was popular and what was not, I was very much in the not popular category, which no one can argue with. It's just sort of your perception of things shifts as you grow up, and you come to realize there are more things to life than playground factions. Am I as cool as a cucumber? No one's as cool as a cucumber. Cucumbers have got it nailed down. Is it surprising, Vivo? I can't quite tell whether you're being serious or not. I'm just going to quickly save there. Skyrim modding shouldn't be a sport because it's very, very important to exercise. You know, I don't do enough exercise. I used to go down the gym very regularly, but the gym here is closed at the moment because of COVID, so I've been working out sort of using body weight and stuff in my room and outside in the sort of garden-y kind of area, but can't quite keep up with what I would ideally be doing. So I need to do more exercise. Trouble is, I've got one of those metabolisms, right, where I just burn everything. Like, in terms of calories, I really struggle to put on weight. So it's quite important that I don't do too much cardio. I used to run a lot, and that got me really, like, my weight right the way down to almost being medically underweight. So I've sort of reduced that and trying to eat more and everything to keep myself, you know, to feed that metabolism. But yeah, I might try and do a bit more running again, sort of, but try not to go too far with it. I don't know, but it is very important to exercise. So do your exercise, friends. Thanks, Vickle. Thank you for the bits. Yeah, I know there are many people who would kill for the metabolism that I have, but it is a bit tiresome sometimes. Right. As fascinating a creature as you are, I'd be a much bigger fan if you weren't so bitey. Not sure about that take. Let's play it back and hear it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That'll do. There was a question there from Yami. Yeah, so thank you. That's really lovely of you to be considering donating. Bits are Twitch's virtual currency. There are donations. They're a way of donating through the Twitch chat. The difference with bits is that I believe you pay. I think Twitch take roughly, and that don't you pay like $1.10 or something, and I get $1. So like $1.10 for 100 bits or 1,000 bits or whatever it is. No, 100 bits for like $1.10, of which I only get like $1. So Twitch would take like 10%. But I'm very happy to, you know, always I'll accept any donation through any medium, whatever you feel comfortable doing is fantastic, and I'm massively grateful. If you're really interested in making sure I get the biggest cut possible, then the best way to do that is through PayPal or through Patreon. Either of those are the most efficient in terms of people not taking a cut. So there's links to both of those underneath the stream if that's something you're interested in doing. But honestly, whatever you feel that you're able to give or tip me with or whatever is fantastically generous, and I really appreciate that, whatever medium. How much do Twitch take from subs? 50%. It's subs are split 50-50 between the streamer and Twitch. Do Streamlabs take cuts? No, they don't. But PayPal do. So Streamlabs just passes it on to PayPal. So PayPal usually takes it's in the region of 5 to 10%. It goes down the bigger the transaction is, but there is a cut. But yes, Twitch take 50% of subs. But if I didn't have the subs, I wouldn't get, 50% of something is better than 0% of nothing. So I'm fantastically grateful that there are subs and that they exist and you guys are subbing. It's fantastic. And I love that. But yeah, if you're just interested in donating to me and aren't fussed about the subscription benefits, then you're more efficient by going over PayPal. But as I say, I'm not fussy. You deciding to give anything to me in any way is fantastic, so thank you. The other thing is that if you hit a Twitch partner level, so if you get an average of 75 viewers or more and get accepted into the partnership program, that allows you to negotiate your own split with Twitch, like your own private contract, which would allow you to negotiate on that 50%, maybe push it down to 40% or something. But obviously, I imagine people like Ninja and whatever have a spectacularly amazing deal. But those of us who are just affiliates may not have that. But one day we may make partner. Who knows? It might happen. I believe. Getting to affiliate is very achievable, Ace. That will happen for you. If you keep up the streaming, you will 100% get to affiliate within no time. Because it is a much, much lower bar than getting to partner. Like, it's hard work to get through that initial stage because Twitch growth is always sort of kind of exponential in that it's much harder to take off initially. But you can get there, absolutely. Who's going to rule the world? Watching Hat? Right, we've got a great line here, which it sounds like it was a Miss Toasty contribution, or maybe Madame Ghosty, or maybe it was Czech. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Maybe it was Shiva. Who came up with the bear pun? Or maybe it was me. I don't know. I love these bad puns we come up with, though. I can't bear fighting you. Get it? Possibly not the best, but oh, blah, 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 blah. Let's try it again. I can't bear fighting you. Get it? Possibly not the best audience for punnery, I suppose. Nah, I didn't quite like the inflection. We'll go one more time. I can't bear fighting you. Get it? Possibly not the best audience for punnery, I suppose. I like that one. I like that take. Let's try it. Yeah, happy with that. Let's export that. Just make the export nice and tight so we're not shipping any more file size than we have to. And export the line. Thanks, Ace. Is it weird hearing myself? It's very weird hearing yourself at the start, when you start out. But once you've recorded about 20 lines or so, you become used to it. The weirdness wears off very quickly. And when you've recorded, we must be coming on for 4,000 now. When you've recorded that many lines, you don't think anything of it anymore. What's weird is the other way around. When I say things as Joseph sometimes in life, and occasionally I'll say something like, marvellous. And I'll suddenly hear Lucien when I say it, and I'm like, that was Lucien. I don't know. It doesn't make the best anecdote, really, does it? But just occasionally in life, I hear him when I'm speaking, and that can be slightly discombobulating. Which is a great word that people should say more often, by the way. Here's a challenge for you all. During the next week, before the next modding workshop, try and say the word discombobulating naturally in conversation at least once to someone. Try and sneak it in. Just sneak it into the subtle flow of the conversation. I want to get the word discombobulating just out there. What does it mean? It means you've been discombobulated. It means you've been heckin' bamboozled. It means you've been stunned. You've been like, whoop, I've been discombobulated. Whoop. You're momentarily scatterbrained from something. Nuna wins. Nuna won the competition. Nuna used the word discombobulated in the last few days. Very good job, Nuna. I would expect nothing less from you. Do. Vivo, you can't come in that quickly with it. You've got to use it naturally for someone else. You can't just say discombobulating straight back to me. That's cheating. Ooh, what's discombobulating in Czech? Czech. Right. So this is for fighting a boar. Thanks for the bits, Vickle. You are always so generous. Anyone else hungry for bacon? Yeah, I'll take that. Ah, well, you see, that's what these streams are all about. We're ostensibly entertainment, but we sneak some education in there in disguise. What's the bacon line referring to? It's if he's fighting a pig. If he's fighting a boar, then he's attempting to intimidate the boar by referring to bacon. I don't know, it's the sort of nonsense we like to put in the mod. There's very little that's meaningful in Lucien.esp. Most of it is prattle. Who's a good boy? Probably not you, if I'm honest. Ah, slightly weird mouth noise on the t. We'll try it one more time. Who's a good boy? Oh, weird. Who's a good boy? Probably not you, if I'm honest. Ah, no, it's weird. Oh, you guys having connection problems? That's annoying. If you just... Well, you can't hear me, those of you who are having a thing. If it's not working, please refresh. Don't know what happened there. Very annoying. I hope we're not going to start having a regular issue again in the future if they've reconfigured my network somehow. I'll look into things afterwards. Who's a good boy? Probably not you, if I'm honest. Yeah, that'll do. Thanks for the follow, Games Shine. Oof, yeah, that was a problem then. Lost 20 viewers to that little crash. Certainly hope that's not going to become a regular thing again. This line is for fighting death hounds. Do 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 do. Da 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 da. Oh well, I've done it now. I'm sure the line is fine. My, what an absolute charmer you are! Loving the whole fish monster look, very intimidating. Yeah, that'll do. Will Lucien comment on the black books in the future? Yes, he will. Ooh, gosh, what happened there? Video download was cancelled. How weird. I know not of what you speak, Nuna. Bum 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 bum. See ya, Enderscram. Thanks for dropping by. Do 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 do. Right, so this one is for, what are they called? Watchers? Are they called watchers? Gosh, you've got it all, haven't you? Tentacles, weird stomach mouth thing, a frankly unnecessary number of hands. Top marks for effort, I must say. What's my favourite Pokemon? My favourite Pokemon is Totodile. There we go. Yes, you did help with this one, didn't you, Ace? Sorry, Stitcher, I'll stop reading your mind. Yes, Seekers, that's it. That's what they're called, Seekers. Oh, I'm really annoyed about that crash. It always completely wrecks the stream's growth when that happens. I really thought we'd solved the whole network crashes issue. I might have to reassign myself a static IP again. Oh, why's that gone wrong? Oh, because I'm calling it Taunts. Of course, I'm copying it from the wrong place. That's what I want. And I want to put that in there. Thanks for the sub, Kelly! Bum 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 ba ba bum bum ba da 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 ba ba da 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 da. Oh, went too high there. Thanks for the bits, Vickle. Ugh, look at you. A lovely little bundle of disease with teeth. My favourite. Yeah, happy with that. Oh, it's so good that these lines don't have echo. It's so satisfying to finally have that solved. Skeever. Yes, that was about skeevers. Skeevers. I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. Bam, 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 bam. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Oh, I was already singing it and you've already just requested it. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all, so true. Our courage will pull us through. Whoa, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. What happens next? What's the next line? Oh yeah, Pokemon, gotta catch 'em as you and me. You know it's my destiny. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all. Whoa, Pokemon. Yeah. I'm not doing all the various verses. Something about challenges and trials that we face and claiming your rightful place. And all of that. Remus was expecting Sinatra. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Fly me to the moon, fly me to the moon. Oh, shout out from earlier. Shout out to Blackbird WR for being my new Quebec sibling from Anxious Stitcher. And of course, Spacebound wanted the full Pokemon theme. Favorite Power Ranger? I used to think the Titanium Ranger from Lightspeed Rescue was the coolest guy in the world. Because he was pretty awesome. So maybe that one. Also, though, big fan of Lord Drakon, if anyone keeps up with the comics. Because he's a pretty cool customer as well. What's even more of a pain than a troll? A troll wearing armor. Whatever next? Spiders with crossbows? Nuna made a smiling face in Poser Hotkeys Plus that doesn't look weird on Narusa. Shout out to Nuna for that. Do-do-do. Go, go, Power Rangers. Do-do-do-do-do. Go, go, Power Rangers. Da-da-da-da-da. Go, go, Power Rangers. Mighty Muffin Power Rangers. That's all I've got ready of that. Ah, yeah, the Blue Ranger was cool as well, because he was a nerd, and I identify strongly with that. Good old Billy. Samurai and Super Samurai was long after my time. Never came across that. Hey, Yellow Ego Cat, welcome to the stream. Going very well so far, but we did have a little internet blip a little while ago, which lost us a whole load of viewers, which is a bit of a shame. But there you go, such is life. Quantum Ranger from Time Force was a cool guy as well, actually, wasn't he? With his whole zigzaggy face. That was cool. The best baddie, though, was Lord Zed, right? He was the coolest baddie of them all. Very scary chap. I don't know if there's anyone in there, but if you can hear me, is there any possibility you could stop trying to eat us? Please? Pretty please? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's all I've got of that. I'm sure there was a whole song to it. Yeah, I like that take. That was a good take. Well done, Joseph. Why, thank you, Joseph. Do-do-do. Da-da-dee, da-da-da-da. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And then there was the other one, the other Pokemon theme, the one that they introduced. Well, there's been loads of them since, but there was one they introduced for Johto. It's a whole new world with a brand new attitude, but you still gotta catch them all. Be the best that you can be. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. I've not heard that one since it first aired, so I may have completely misremembered it. But I liked that. That was a good tune. Pokemon Johto. Do I have a second favourite Pokemon? Heck, that's an interesting one. Okay, if Totodil's my favourite, second favourite. I really liked Dialga from Diamond and Pearl. Or maybe Dialga. I don't know how you say that. Do you say Dialga or Dialga? Dialga? But also Groudon. Groudon and Entei. These legendary boys, we go a long way back. Entei, Groudon, and Dialga probably are all sort of tied for being my second favourite Pokemon. If we're allowed to include legendaries. No, stop it. Go from there. No. There we go. This is not my idea of a fun day's fishing. Oh, I see, Bard. Oh, that's very kind of you. It's a shame that not all the Pokemon are available in the latest generation. Spaceman says, if I remember correctly, you've played Dragon Age, right? If so, who's your favourite companion? Ooh, crumbs. Leliana was awesome from the original. Oh, but Varric. Oh, and Dorian. Oh, there are so many to choose from. Okay, either Leliana, Varric, Dorian, Alistair. Oh, what are they called? Big Rock Golem. What's their name? Why can't I remember their name? You guys all know. What's the Rock Golem called from Dragon Age 1? Shale! Love Shale. Such a dry sense of humour. Oh, now, the thing with Lugia slash Lugia slash Lugia, or whatever, however the heck you're supposed to say it, right, in the Pokemon the movie 2000, the one that came out in 2000, the second Pokemon movie, wasn't it? Where they had Lugia and the Legendary Birds or whatever, they had that tune, and that tune has always stayed with me. They play it on, I think, an ocarina? The whole do 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 do. Do 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 do. See, I always found that haunting. I love the orchestral suite from that film. I don't know whether that's just me or whether anyone else... Does anyone else have that? Stitcher gets it! Yay! Oh, EgoCat had a question. I'm overhauling appearance in SSE Edit and deleting unneeded meshes and textures manually. It's always worked so far, but now I see some NPCs' IDs, but they are not in the meshes and textures. What could be wrong, or they have a different IDs then? If you're just talking about NPC meshes and textures, honestly, I'm not sure. I don't really know about that aspect of it. I'm sorry, I wish I could be of more help. I know unique meshes for objects in the world don't need to have the ID in the name. They can be named anything. But I think they do have to have the right ID for an NPC. I'm sorry, I'm really not the person to ask about that. I'm sorry, I wish I could be of more help. They could be replacement meshes for other NPCs that aren't introduced by the mod. Mewtwo Strikes Back was so angsty. Loved that movie. You know, I was an angsty teenager for a while. And Mewtwo Strikes Back was from long before I was a teenager, but I think that film probably started me on the path of discovering angst for the first time. Ha! Now this is a thing. This word that I wrote. Sentient? Are we happy with sentient? Or do we think sentient? Then again, most of you are American, aren't you? So you're not the people to ask. I might quickly Google it. Sentient pronunciation.
Sentient. Sentient.
Sentient. Sentient it is. Sentient we're going with. Do, do, do. This is one nasty sentient pile of rocks. Yeah, that'll do. Do 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 da 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 do 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 da 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 ba da 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 bum bum. The oldest one here? Probably not me. Yellow you cat. Also, if, for instance, Mihail adds a monster spell to an NPC, will it reverse to vanilla its overhauled appearance? So far seems so. I'm trying to make some patches. So the way to observe that is if you open both mods in SSE Edit, both your mod and Mihail's one, open them at the same time, and if they conflict, then you will be able to see that. When you click on the record, you'll see one record overwriting the other record. So if you find the NPC record and have a look, you can see whether the spells are being overwritten or not. And if they are, then you can patch them yourself. Again, using SSE Edit. But I would have thought, yes, an overhaul that alters the NPC probably would overwrite the NPC's spell stack. Almost certainly, yes. If it edits that NPC record, then it makes sense. Many of Mihail's mods are fantastic. They're very innovative and some really exciting new ideas in there, but they do conflict a lot. They are particularly prone to conflicting with other mods, so I would definitely suggest, if you know anything about what you're doing with SSE Edit and you're using Mihail's mods, do have a quick check through them every now and again, just to compare them, just to make sure that they're not conflicting with other mods that you're using, because it's quite likely they do tend to conflict, often with each other. And with a lot of other mods, so do watch out for that. A sort of a merch idea. Mugs that say T it is to go with all your it is names. I mean, sure. If you think it'll sell. Right. What was this? Right, let's export that unless I've already done it. This is the problem when I start having conversations with you guys while recording. Super Trooper lights are gonna blind me, but I won't feel blue. Like you something. 'Cause somewhere in the crowd there's you. Shout out to Kelly3000 for being just so gosh darn wonderful and wise, from Yami. There you go. Hydrate. Your wish is my command. Tonight the Super Trooper lights are gonna blind me. Hey, Snowy Hearts 93, thanks for the bits. Welcome to the stream. Is it evil if you select hydrate when my tea is cold? I mean, it's ethically debatable, but my tea isn't cold at the moment, so that's okay. I didn't think skeletons could get any spooky. No, try that again. I didn't think skeletons could get any spookier. Oh, it hit the desk there. Come on, Joseph, keep it together. I didn't think skeletons could get any spookier. Yeah, I like that one. I like that take. That is, of course, for the bone men of the soul cairn. Very spooky. Spoopy, scary skeletons. Sorry, not sorry, Stitcher. Do 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 do. La da da da. We'll see you again soon, yes? What? Why did that just play a jacuzzi line? What happened there? Did you guys hear that? That was jacuzzi. It was me pressing preview there by accident. But that's not a jacuzzi line, that's a Lucien line. Unless these have all been... I didn't think skeletons could get any spookier. No, that line is there. Baffling. To be fair, that would have been the last line I previewed in the creation kit, because I never preview them. So it does make sense. They must have been, you know, still selected kind of somehow. Yeah. Anyway. So long as Lucien isn't about to burst out with that halfway through the mod. Snowy Hearts has a creation kit question. Fire away. Could I use creation kit and add spells to Lucien, or would that cause bugs? What do you mean, add spells? What do you mean by that? Tell me more about what you're proposing doing. Hey, Master Glucosavian? Glucosavian? Master Glucosavian. Hello, Master Glucosavian, and welcome to the stream. Do you personally use vanilla or overhauled Lucien? I personally use vanilla Lucien because I made him like that. I wouldn't make him in a way that I wasn't happy with. You were thinking of adding spells and perks to make Lucien an already powerful mage. Maybe give him more magicka as well. You're probably better doing that using the in-game console than using the creation kit. By selecting him in the console and then doing add spell or whatever. I think that you'll find that a better experience, and you're less likely to do any permanent damage by doing it that way. The thing is, with the creation kit, it's very easy to accidentally edit something you didn't mean to and cause problems. So you're very welcome to do that, but do it through the console. And if you do run into issues with it, please don't come and post on the page or anything about it, because I won't be able to help you. It's very much a use at your own risk kind of thing. Will Lucien get special Lucien armor in the future? No, because that wouldn't make any sense for him. He wouldn't. There's no reason that he would have his own armor. He's not a warrior. He's a scholar. The gods sure had fun with this one. Take a grasshopper and make it a nightmare. Perfect. I believe Mihail has a Dwemer Power Armor mod, so you're very welcome to download that and give the armor to Lucien if you want him to use that. I think there's several, actually. Ah. There we go, so let's just export that. What kind of mage do you think suits Lucien the most? Restoration suits him the most. But in terms of combat, he uses destruction a lot because he's an NPC and NPCs love destruction spells. But in terms of his character, restoration is definitely the happiest school of magic, which would suit him the most. Because he's a good guy, really. He's into good things. He's a nice chap. A cheerful bean. A cinnamon roll. Hang on. You're tempted to make your own Lucien replacer so it's as close to vanilla as possible. Surely being as close to vanilla as possible would be to just stick with the vanilla? No? Yes? Maybe? I don't quite follow. Remus is planning to give Lucien an enchanted version of the fine clothes, keeping a scholarly look. That's a fun idea. TNGT Studio says, will Lucien's story continue? Yes, it will. So it's not going to be in the next update, but I'm sort of aiming for Lucien version 1.7.0, so the next content update after this one. I'm planning on doing the third quest. That may change, don't hold me to it, but Lucien has a third quest and dungeon that are being worked on. The dungeon is by Jay Krojmal, who also made Dark End. You know, he's the same guy who made Doom's Bathar for Lucien. He's the same guy who made the JK's Skyrim series, and he's made a dungeon for Lucien. Well, it's a dungeon come world space. Very small world space / big dungeon, depending on how you want to look at it. And that is the setting for Lucien's third personal quest, which is going to be rather dramatic and dark and large amounts of heck So I'm really looking forward to releasing that. There'll be a trailer for that before that actually comes out, so you'll know about that when that's coming. It's certainly nowhere near being ready yet, but I was originally planning on having it ready for Christmas, but I don't think that's going to happen now because time keeps passing. It's terribly frustrating when time passes, isn't it? So that's probably going to be in the first quarter of next year now, spring next year. We'll see. First few months of next year is the plan. Thank you for the bits, Snowy Hearts. Before you began your work on Lucien, how did you come up with the idea of an Imperial Scholar coming to Skyrim an academic expedition? Because it sounded like something that suited my own personal personality, and I was trying to channel a bit of myself into the mod, and it was a lovely juxtaposition to the typical characters in Skyrim. Many of them, or most of them, are hardened warriors, barbarians, mages, whatever, whereas just a scholar who didn't know how to fight was a fun character to play with that subverted the usual expectations of the game. Oh, Fistful of Sky can't stand vanilla hair. Fair, that makes sense. Lucien in Dark Souls? Heck no. Doomsbathar sounds like Bathar Dams because they're both Dwemer words. Doomsbathar is the Dwemer phrase for bound ghosts. And I think Bathar Dams is, because Dooms is ghosts and Bathar is bound. So Bathar Dams also has the word bound there, and I'm not quite sure, can't quite remember what dams means, but it's bound something. So that's why they sound the same, because they're the same. They both have the same root of Bathar being involved in them. It does translate. If you look it up on UESP, you'll find the translation for it. How did I find an actual Dwemer word for your dungeon? Using UESP, the Elder Scrolls wiki that you'll find online. It has a whole dictionary full of Dwemer words, so I picked two that sounded cool and made sense for the kind of dungeon I was trying to create. Once you've finished your work on Lucien in a few words, will you possibly develop more follower mods? No, my priority is Lucien. I'm not planning on finishing him. I'm planning on continually supporting him until the Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, at which point I'll look at some kind of Lucien-based follower in the Elder Scrolls 6. However, if you're desperate for another follower from me, then take a look at my How to Make a Follower Mod Like Lucien Flavius series on YouTube, because that shows you the creation of Jacuzzi, which is a much smaller follower. It's a Khajiit follower that was also voiced and made by me, which I'm making for the purpose of demonstrating how to make a follower mod, but that will be released when the series is done. So it'll be a much, much smaller follower than Lucien is, but we'll have all his features, demonstrating each feature so that you can refer to it when you're making your own follower using the tutorial series. You can have a look at the implementation directly in Jacuzzi. That's the idea anyway. Which race is more interesting to you, Dwemer or Ayleid? I don't really know anything about the Ayleids, having not properly played Oblivion. So the Dwemer are the only one I'm really familiar with. And if only a few folks make followers, then we'll have more excellent followers for Skyrim. That is true. Yeah. Well, that's my hope with the series, is that people will be following the tutorial series and being inspired to create their own follower mods of good quality. That's my hope. Very exciting that Plushian's on my way to me. Thank you so much for sending him, Stitcher. I wish him luck on his voyage. So who looked at one of these and thought, I bet those legs are delicious? This again is about ash hoppers on Solstheim. Shout out to Anxious Stitcher because Plushian Flavius is the greatest thing I have ever laid eyes on. Seconded from me. That's from Bard. That's wonderful to hear, Walking Existential Dread. 300 lines is a fabulous number to have got. Well done. You're getting close to a point where you can comfortably release if you want, I expect. TNGT, it sounds like the third quest will be very character developing for Lucien. Definitely. It's a very character-focused story, which should sort of bring to a head a lot of the plot threads that have been established throughout the mod so far. It's not a finale as such, but it's I sort of visualize the quests as a trilogy, with Intruders being the sort of mini one in the middle. You know, there's we start with the big one, then we have the tiny little one, Intruders, and there was another big one to finish it off. Which won't be the end of the mod by any means, because there's so much more I've got planned. But it should provide a sort of, not finality, but, you know, an amount of narrative weight. Ha, yes, you're right, Vedyel. Shout out to Anxious Stitcher and Plushian from Morgan Knives. Will it change Lucien as a character? Yeah, yes, I would have thought so. It'll be something that he remembers. I try to make Lucien sort of develop based on what happens in the game normally, you know. I try and make him remember certain lines he'll remember, certain events he'll remember and refer to later, and he has his dynamic personality system that shifts. So yeah, he'll certainly remember the events of the quest. These wisps are awfully pretty. Shame we have to destroy them. Oh yeah, Inigo's totally being worked on. Absolutely. If you follow him on social media and keep up with the Inigo Discord and the YouTube channels and his interviews with Colin Burton, etc., you'll hear that he's absolutely still working on it. You can get loads of details about it. On the Inigo website, the Friends of Inigo website, you can see previews of Inigo V3. You can see them in his interview with Colin Burton, 2 interviews with Colin Burton that are on YouTube. So have a look at those, where you'll hear Gary talking at length about all the work he's done on V3. It's very well documented online. But it's one of those things that'll be ready when it's ready, you know. Gary and I have very different update cycles in that Gary prefers to do very well spaced out large content drops, where I prefer to do more frequent, smaller content drops. It's just 2 different ways of working. But that's why Lucien gets more regular updates. He's updated more often, but they're all smaller, whereas Inigo V3 will probably be as big as Lucien. But I'm guessing there, I've got no insider knowledge. You know, I don't know any more than you do about it. But I would have thought, in terms of the amount of content in it, it'll be bigger than any of the updates we've done for Lucien, since Lucien came out, you know. I believe Gary works at a faster rate than I do. I don't know how. But, you know, he churns out an awful lot of work. So when that all adds up over the course of, what has it been, 4 years since the last major Inigo update, it'll be an awful lot of content. So at one point, the estimation for Inigo V3 was sometime next year. But that's definitely not a date to hold him to by any means. It'll be ready when it's ready. But for the sake of a general vague ballpark figure of maybe it'll be done in this time window, the aim was sometime next year. I don't know what Gary does for a real job. Do I have any follower mods that you recommend beside Lucien? Yes, loads! Ori from Song of the Green, for one. Wonderful follower, very underrated. Should have way more downloads, because it's an amazing piece of work. Hoth, Kaiden are amazing. Any of the followers from Interesting NPCs. Obviously Inigo. Those are the ones that I use all the time off the top of my head. I'm sure there are lots more. I do apologise if I've forgotten anything obvious that I should be instantly thinking of. I might remember one later in the stream or something. But those are probably the main ones that I recommend, personally. Although, you know, a lot of follower mods, there are loads of follower mods on the Nexus, many of which I haven't tried, so there are tons of them out there. Does Vortex automatically update downloaded mods? No, it doesn't. You have to manually update them. Which is what you would want. You wouldn't want a mod manager to automatically update your mods, because some mods aren't safe to update mid-playthrough. Yes, I've also heard very good things about Khajiit will follow. Oh, and Velia! How could I forget Velia? I knew I was forgetting one. Yeah, Velia, fantastic follower mod. Thoroughly recommend Velia. It's only the biggest follower mod of all time, and I forgot it. Sorry. Yes. Velia. Excuse me, madam. I don't normally do this, but do you have a moment to talk? As opposed to... Oh, I hit the microphone. Drat. Excuse me, madam. I don't normally do this, but do you have a moment to talk? As opposed to murdering each other? No? No. Pity. That's for the Wisp Mother, of course. When a mod is updated, I go to Nexus to download the latest version. Yes, although I believe Vortex will provide you a link if you want. I don't do that personally, but I believe you can access I believe Vortex will flag when a mod has an update available, and you can just click on it to find the update on the Nexus. But yeah. Will Lucien interact with Serana? On a very low level, possibly. I'm not really into splicing in dialogue anymore. I'm never happy with the results of spliced dialogue. We probably won't have any major interactions with her by the vanilla thing. However, the new Serana dialogue expansion mod thing, the author has expressed interest in collaborating with me, which would be fantastic. So I'll be doing vanilla Dawnguard stuff first, but once the vanilla Dawnguard stuff is done, I'm definitely interested in the idea of doing some kind of intermod interaction with that mod, which might allow us to have, well, would certainly allow us to have way more complex scenes between Lucien and Serana. Yeah, exactly, Watching Hat. He'll talk about her in the vanilla one, but scenes between them will be extremely challenging. So I don't think that's something I'd really be able to do. There might be one or two, possibly, depending on how well I'm able to use the dialogue that's already there. But as I say, I'm never happy with the results of spliced dialogue. I never have been. It always bothers me. So I'm not particularly keen on doing more. But no, Lucien doesn't have any commentary on Dawnguard at the moment, no. He will in a future update, but right now, no. Well, we've got a few enemies and locations he'll comment on from it, but nothing on the quest line. This is the meanest piece of firewood I've ever met! Weird mouth sound. Let's go again. This is the meanest piece of firewood I've ever met! Ah, another weird mouth sound. Come on, Joseph. Keep the mouth under control. This is the meanest piece of firewood I've ever met! Yeah, that'll do. See you, Spacebound. Thanks for dropping by. Been lovely to have you. Yeah, Nuna's hit the nail on the head there. As soon as you have multiple follower mods that try and splice the same dialogue, you instantly start getting massive immersion breaking issues, because if you hear the same line be reused for 2 different conversations, it instantly becomes obvious that there's been splicing and your immersion is shattered. So that is another reason why I'm never happy with spliced dialogue. And you notice that in particular with Lucien's scenes with Inigo, when you use Ori as well, and her scenes with Inigo play, if you've got that patch, in that they reuse the same dialogue for several different scenes, and I hate that. Ori's fantastic, and the patch is fantastic. It's nothing. I'm not criticizing Ori in any way, because of course she must use that same dialogue, but we're both using the same dialogue pool, which results in those kinds of issues, which is why I don't like splicing. What about totally avoiding splicing dialogue with Serana and incorporating new actress straight away? No, I wouldn't want to introduce the new actress and force that on players who don't use the Serana mod. That would only be available for people who use that mod. You wouldn't want to just force a new voice actress on people who happen to use Lucien and Serana. I, for instance, don't. As amazing as I'm sure that mod is, I'm a big fan of the existing voice of Serana, and I wouldn't want to change it for my own personal playthrough. So I certainly wouldn't do anything that I wouldn't want to see in game. So while I absolutely would support interactions with it for people who do want to have a different Serana voice actor, I wouldn't want to have that in as a vanilla thing. See you watching, Hat. Enjoy school. Now this is a line for Falmer. No, Kaiden has an entirely optional romance path. I have used Kaiden in many of my playthroughs, but have never tried to romance him, and it's never been a problem. How old is Lucien supposed to be? Lucien is canonically 21. That's stated in his prequel short story you'll find on his website, The Flavius Chronicles War's End. On my website, I mean. There's a specific date, or rather a specific year for his birth there, which makes him 21 by the time of the events of Skyrim. Lucien's younger than me. Lucien was the same age as me when I started working on him. Or rather, the same age as me when I released him. So that's why he's that age. So if, depending entirely on the setting of Elder Scrolls 6, but if it's set, well, depending on, all sorts of things, but if I were to somehow be able to bring Lucien into Elder Scrolls 6 as a follower, it would be a Lucien a few years on to match my age change, to make his voice match mine a bit more, or rather my slightly older voice match his a bit better. So Lucien would be 20, well, if it came out next year, he would be 24 or whatever by the time of Elder Scrolls 6. But then again, if it comes out in 10 years' time, you'll have I guess I'll be 33 by then. Heck, so you'll have a 33-year-old Lucien. That will be a big difference to his voice. Now, see here! Actually, on second thoughts, that's probably a touch insensitive, isn't it? Delivered that too fast. Now, see here! Actually, on second thoughts, that's probably a touch insensitive, isn't it? Whoops! No, don't like that delivery either. We're going to go one more time. Now, see here! Actually, on second thoughts, that's probably a touch insensitive, isn't it? Whoops! Let's listen back to that one. I think that one was probably good. How old am I again? I'm 23. If the Elder Scrolls 6 is a big gap, you could always have the next generation of Flavius. I could, but I'm never a big fan of the trope in fiction of ancestors and descendants being played by the same person and looking the same, because it does slightly require a suspension of disbelief. I would prefer for it to be Lucien. Now, whether that's done simply because it's a few years on, or whether we employ some kind of time travel shenanigan mechanic, I don't know. I would prefer for it to still be the same character rather than a descendant. Will older Lucien have my normal voice? No, he will have is because my normal voice is different to Lucien's voice. The two voices are distinctly different. Although it's subtle, but they are different, and it's not simply an age thing. There's a change in tone and register that I would want to keep consistent. Ghost Lucien. There's already one Ghost Lucien in Skyrim, which has been the bane of my life. Or it certainly was earlier when I released. I should not have chosen the name Lucien in hindsight. I wasn't aware of how big a character Lucien Lachance... Lucien Lachance? I don't even know how you say that. Lachance or Lachance? I wasn't aware of how big a character he was when I named Lucien. And I shouldn't have done that. Because it means it's a nightmare when people are Googling Lucien, they find, or they used to find, the wrong Lucien, or everyone used to assume that the mod was to do with that other Lucien, and you'd get constant comments, and I still get comments to this day all the time on YouTube and on the page or whatever saying, oh, I thought you were talking about the other Lucien. Even though it's clear that I'm not now, but they think they're being funny because they think they've come up with a really original joke. Yeah. Well, yeah, Le Chance if it's the French way, but I don't know if it's supposed to be the French way or not. I don't know how they say it in Oblivion, because I haven't played that far in Oblivion to actually meet him. Maybe they never say it out loud, I don't know. I actually have plans for Lucien sort of beyond the Elder Scrolls 6. I don't want to get into specifics of anything at this stage, but the character I'd definitely like to develop more in some interesting, different ways. So it's interesting hearing you talk about him as a mentor in the Elder Scrolls 6. I don't know what relationship it would end up being. It depends entirely on what the setting is of Elder Scrolls 6 and everything. But I do want his character to develop through different media beyond the character that he is in Skyrim. This is very much the start of his story. But I like that opportunity for character growth after the events of Skyrim that I want to explore. Because I like the character. He's fun to play and he's fun to write. And, you know, he's quite popular now, which is nice. And I'd be mad not to keep that going. If people enjoy learning about the character and stories with the character, I want to use him more. For someone with no eyes, you're an awfully good shot. Yeah, I like that. Thank you, Fistful of Sky. It's going a bit better than last time. Those of you watching last week will remember me having about 5 minutes of bloopers for one line. I can't remember, what was the line now? It was a line where I'd created a tongue twister for myself accidentally, with a particularly difficult to pronounce sentence. Can anyone remember what it was? What was the line I struggled with for ages last time? Dwemer Ruins I struggled with, because Dwemer Ruins is just hard to say. Dwemer Ruins. Sound like Palpatine there. Enter the Dwemer Ruins, Skywalker. Young Skywalker, the Dwemer Ruins are open to you. Do it. So fascinatingly deadly. Thank you, Stitcher. Alas, not a role I'm ever likely to actually be able to play in anything. But he's a good voice, isn't he? He's very stuck in the back of his throat. It's all there. It's all, that's why my throat is. It's all down there. Whereas Lucien is right here in the front of my mouth. Lucien Flavius. They're the opposite. Lucien and Palpatine are the British opposites of each other. Vocally. Ha! Thanks, Bard. Glad you enjoyed. I do like my references when I can get away with them not being actually immersion breaking. Lucien Flavius versus Palpatine rap battle. Maybe one day. Yeah, Armitor, it's probably a good thing for us to talk about in our session, in our next lesson. Because it is an interesting aspect of acting and voice acting, that particularly when you're voice acting rather than the narration that we did before, but when we're actually doing dialogue, it's definitely an important consideration where you place your character's voice in your body or in your mouth, or which resonant cavities you employ. So remind me of that, because it's definitely worth talking about. Will Doomsbathar develop more? Yeah, I've got more plans for the character. He'll certainly play a role in the third quest. Oh, that's nice of you to say, Kelly. Glad you're enjoying it. Watch out for spoilers, guys, in the chat for the people who haven't played the quests. Yes, exactly, Fistful of Sky. I have, when I did Lambda at school, which is a, it's not anything as dramatic as going to drama school or anything like that. But as a sort of entry-level kind of acting qualification, I did have that. So that's where I picked up a bit of the knowledge that I have, which is nothing compared to professional actors and stuff. But the slim knowledge I have about vocal posture and all that sort of things, a lot of that comes from my Lambda lessons. I'm planning on doing a Doomsbathar walkthrough on my YouTube channel, by the way, at some point soon, because I know people do occasionally struggle with it, with the layout or whatever, because it's different to ordinary Dwemer Run dungeons in that we tried to make it feel like a lived-in place, rather than a series of interconnected corridors. You know, we tried to give it actual rooms with purpose, but I do appreciate that leads to a slightly more confusing layout if you don't have clairvoyance or something, or you're choosing not to use quest markers. So I am, yeah, I would like to do a little walkthrough video for you guys who are confused about it. See you, Prince Wiccan. Have a great time zone. It's such a shame to damage such brilliant technology, but I suppose we have no choice. No, not quite. Let's go again. It's such a shame to damage such brilliant technology, but I suppose we have no choice. Let's try that. Oh, I recorded that right over the top of... What was all this? Oh, that was me testing before, testing the echo. Yeah, we'll lose that. Okay. Well, that was very careless of you, TNGT Studios. Now, when Lucien first came out, there was a lovely Reddit review thread comment thing about him from someone who he died in their playthrough for. But they'd chosen to keep that as a part of their character's story. They hadn't reloaded. They stuck with the death because of how much they liked the character. They liked having that emotional weight of having lost him, which was actually, it was really lovely of them to say. I enjoyed reading that, their little thing, what they'd written. But yeah, I'll always remember that one. Yeah, the way you sing is completely different when you've got a microphone versus when you're trying to project to perform to a room. There are vocal things you can do when you've got a microphone that you could never achieve if you needed to create the volume to fill a room. And the sound of it all is completely different as well. It's two very different styles of performance. But obviously there are far fewer opportunities at the moment in the current state of the world to perform publicly. So microphone singing is quite in right now. Hey, Free Range Pizza! In your follower tutorial series, you mentioned the vanilla follower framework has limitations compared to a custom framework. I was wondering, what are some of the biggest deal-breaking limitations? The biggest deal-breaker for me is the conflict issue. So if you have one follower mod built on the vanilla framework and you install a second follower mod that's also built on the vanilla follower framework, the two will conflict with one another. And that is not good. You do not want that one bit. So that is the biggest issue I have with building on the vanilla follower framework. In terms of the other limitations of it, well, what you're doing is you're stuck with the vanilla scripting functions. So with Lucien, I've configured him, because he's on a custom framework, to not automatically dismiss when he's left on his own for a length of time, whereas a vanilla follower framework would leave on its own after a length of time. Like follow on the vanilla framework would leave if you leave them on their own. I think for 3 days. So I was able to disable that because he's on his own framework. What else does it allow me to do necessarily? Ultimately, it gives you control. You can change any aspect of it, which you can't. You're locked into the vanilla one. So really, it's up to you, to your imagination, what things you might want your follower framework to do that the vanilla one can't. Trying to think of more examples now. Okay, so you can sandbox. You can have your follower sandbox while they're waiting, or when they're following you, if they're within a certain distance, you can have them interact with the world, which you can't do on the vanilla framework again. You can alter things like the distance they follow you at. You can do what I do, which is actually enable a global variable flag when he's recruited as a failsafe to check whether or not he's supposed to be recruited. So if he's accidentally dismissed, because there are bugs that can occasionally cause a follower to become dismissed without you doing anything in the game, I can make it automatically re-recruit him again without you ever noticing. So things like that. Lots of different things, really. How did you program Lucien's AI to use healing hands? So that is a spell package. That is a cast spell package in the creation kit, which is a vanilla... Oh, well, not vanilla. There's a vanilla template for casting a spell. So that is a cast spell package put on his AI package stack, which says when the player is below a certain health threshold, if they're within a certain distance of Lucien and Lucien has enough magicka to cast the spell, and they're within Lucien's line of sight, then he'll cast Healing Hands on them. But it's not the real Healing Hands, it's actually a custom version of Healing Hands that manually removes the appropriate magicka cost from Lucien. Because if you use the cast spell package without that, well, if you just use the cast spell package, it won't cost magicka for the NPC to cast the spell in question, whereas we do want Lucien's magicka to go down, so the special version of Healing Hands he casts runs a script on when it's cast, it deducts magicka from the user, from whoever's casting it manually. So I think it's actually called JR Lucien Healing Hands instead of the vanilla Healing Hands. There will be an episode of the tutorial series going into tons of detail about how you can do that yourself and similar. So stay tuned for that. I'm sorry I haven't done an episode of the tutorial series for a while because I've been quite busy with my other projects, but it is something I am planning on continuing. And at some point I will get to that and explain that in detail for you. I would strongly encourage you not to use any mod like Become High King or anything like that on Lucien. Do not try and control Lucien with another mod, it will break him. You're welcome to do that on your own game if you want, but if you run into issues, please don't come asking me for help about them, because that is impossible. I can't possibly provide that level of support for people. Unless you want me to stop developing the mod altogether and just do support. Right, let's crack on. Right, we want this line about spiders shooting lightning. And then we're probably going to end in a few minutes' time because I've got other work I need to do. Spiders are bad enough. Spiders that shoot lightning? What were the Dwemer thinking? I know, I'm going to put a but in there. Spiders are bad enough, but spiders that shoot lightning? What were the Dwemer thinking? There we go. Taunt 24. I think what we'll do is we'll get to the end of this taunt stack because we're nearly there. We're nearly done with them, and then we'll end the stream after we've got to the end of the taunt stack. So there's only a few more left to do. Ah, what happened there? I messed something up. Oh no, it's fine. Armator wants the Lugia song again. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do do. The amount of power needed to move that much metal! Astonishing! Simply astonishing! Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy, I hurt you again. Ah, and I made a weird sound halfway through saying astonishing there. Oops, there you go. Let's try it again. Oh, gosh. The amount of power needed to move that much metal! Astonishing! Simply Astonishing. Ah, why do I keep clicking on that? There you go. There you go, that's a better take. Thanks, Vickle. That's very kind of you to say, and thank you for the bits. Thank you, Remus. I want to put more singing into the Lucien mod. I'm learning the guitar for the purpose of being letting Lucien be able to play the lute. So hopefully he'll be able to perform for you in-game at some point in a future update. Won't be in the next version. Oh, and I think this one we ought to put a touch of happiness onto that line. Just a touch. Because he's excited, even though he's scared. It's like when he's marvelling at Alduin during Lucien the Dragonborn. Which sounds like a lesser-known Beatles song, doesn't it? Lucien the Dragonborn, da-da-da. Follow it down to a city called Helgen, where Imperial soldiers swing axes at your neck. A crossbow with legs! Oh, how do I say that? Oh, I wrote it and I don't know how to pronounce it. Ingenuity?
Ingenuity. Ingenuity.
Ingenuity.
Ingenuity.
Ingenuity. Got it. Thank you, Google. Never had to say that word out loud before. Ingenuity. Ingenuity. A crossbow with legs! The ingenuity of the Dwemer never ceases to amaze. Now that line I think I'll set to only play once, because that makes less sense if it's the 17th Dwemer Ballista he's encountered. No, I didn't mean to say me at the end. I'm quite happy with it in its current form. Lucien versus Inigo. No, I wouldn't start trying to compete between follower mods. That way madness lies. But also, I wouldn't hope to try and compete with Inigo. I mean, it's a spectacular mod, and it's like twice the size of Lucien, so... If it's coming down to size, Inigo's way bigger than Lucien, but no, it doesn't need to be a battle. Can't we all just happily coexist? Whoa, follow it down to a bridge by a fountain. I probably shouldn't sing that. It's a little bit yikes. But it's catchy. But yeah. This is the last line then? I think this one has a point it wants to make. Get it? Point? It's pointy. Thanks for the follow, crazy medieval guy. There we go. Export line number 27. That's not bad for a couple of hours, 27 lines. Fairly productive. I'm afraid I don't know that song, Zooey. Sorry. You're welcome to request another one, though. Otherwise, I'll refund you the points. So I was going to just flag this first one with Ingenuity. I was going to flag that to only say once. There we go. And now we're done. Awesome sauce. That's all the taunts. So next time we can crack on with those idols and those hellos and things. Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kinda dumb with a finger and a thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. And the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Something, and they hit the ground running. So much to do, so much to see, so much to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey now, you're an all-star, get your game on. Hey, babe, hey now, you're an all-star. Da-da-da-da, hey, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Only shooting stars know the lyrics. Yeah. I didn't look the lyrics up, so I just went with it, but we'll go with that. A copyright strike for that is extremely unlikely. You're right, technically. If they wanted to try and copyright strike me for that, they could. But I would be extremely surprised if Smash Mouth felt sufficiently threatened by me that at the end of a 2-hour stream that that couple of bars of performance merited a copyright strike. Right. Okay. I'm going to clear off because it is the end of the stream. I've got loads of work to crack on with, so I'm going to do that. Yeah, I know record labels and everything can be funny about it, but rather the point is that it's not going to trigger one of the automatic detectors. No, that's false, Fistful of Sky. That's not true. Covers absolutely do get copyright strikes. 100%. It's just that, you're 100% legally not allowed to do covers on YouTube or on Twitch unless you unless you go through a licensing company. So I have a licensing company that I've signed up with, which I'm planning on using the first time I do a serious cover. I'll register it through that licensing company, which would split the profits, I believe, 60-40 with whoever the original owner of the music is. But point is, I can get away with singing a couple of bars like that of a song badly without a backing track at the end of a stream, and no one's going to care. No, not even if you're not making any money off it, you still can and sometimes do get copyright strikes. Whether or not you're making money from it has nothing to do with whether or not you'll get a copyright strike for doing a cover. If you look up copyright rules of covers on the internet, you'll find a whole load of information about it. There's so much there. So if you're interested in that, do look it up. But a few bars generally you can get away with. But if I were to just do a video, if someone were to take just a clip of just that section of my stream where I just sang that and put just that on its own on YouTube, it's entirely possible that it would get a copyright claim or a copyright strike. More likely a claim than a strike, because the whole purpose of the video is that cover, even if it's a bad cover. But the fact that it's here at the end of a 2-hour stream, just as a few like throwaway lines, it's probably fine. But if they wanted to, they could claim me, in which case I would cut it out and we'd cut that section from the stream. But yeah, anyway, that's the end of that. End of the stream. I'm going to go and get on with work and have some dinner and stuff. Thank you all so much for joining, keeping me company while I'm on. It's always great fun having you guys here with me while I'm working. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your time zone. Be wonderful to one another, stay marvellous, and I will see you all again on Saturday for Superhero Saturday stream. And I will see you on Monday for Multiplayer Monday, and we'll be back next week. But do bear in mind, I believe it's this weekend, the clocks go back in the UK. So we're going to have a 1 hour time shift for daylight savings, which I believe will make this stream 1 hour. Which way is this going to go? The scheduled time underneath the stream will update automatically to account for it, and it'll update automatically on Discord and everywhere. But it'll be after this Sunday. Will we go? The clocks go. It becomes darker earlier, so the clocks go back an hour, which means it'll be an hour later for you guys in the US or whatever, where it was previously at 5 p.m. here, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. It'll now be an hour later starting next week. But do just pay attention to the stream schedule listed underneath this Discord anyway, because that one will automatically update, so you can see. And of course, it might also change for you in your countries, so you'll need to account for that as well. But yeah, just bear that in mind. It might be an hour different. But anyway, yeah, see you all again really soon. Have a great rest of your day. Stay marvellous. Bye-bye.